there! I'm Sprinkles, Santa Claus's special elf. Because everything is special with sprinkles. Santa Claus knows you're special too, and he has something to say to you. So listen close as Santa Claus shares holiday cheer with you. You can leave a special message for... Hi there! I'm Sprinkles, Santa Claus's special elf. Because everything is special with sprinkles. Santa Claus knows you're special too, and he has something to say to you. So listen close as Santa Claus shares holiday cheer with you. You can leave a special message for Santa Claus and get on the nice list at www.santaclaussays.net. Now here is the big man himself, Santa Claus!
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas to all the boys and the girls of the world. Santa Claus says, be good for goodness sakes, because Christmas is coming very, very soon. And I'm here to do 3 things for you to help your Christmas time go merry and bright. I bring you Christmas cheer with a couple of Christmas time jokes, and of course, Sprinkles helps us bring Christmas cheer. We tell a wonderful Christmas story, and then we also have a letter to Santa. And our letter to Santa, it can come in one of a few ways. You can always go to our website, which is santaclaussays.net, and there you can leave me a voicemail, or you can leave me an email, or you can also leave me a text message, and I will get those. And perhaps, just perhaps, we'll read those here on Santa Claus Says. That's what we do here. I like to bring a lot of joy into the Christmas season. Boys and girls, there is our glockenspiel, it's the chimes, which tells us it's time for Santa's joke time. And here we go. When someone delivers a package to Santa, what do? They ring the jingle bell. What breakfast do Santa and his wife like to eat together? Missile toast. Ho 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 ho. Well, those are some good ones. If you have a joke to send to Santa, send it along to me at santaclaussays.net, and perhaps we'll read your joke here on our show, which comes to you every night live here on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/SantaClausSays, and it's also on podcast on Apple Podcast and at santaclaussays.net. Just search Santa Claus Says and you will find me. There's the glockenspiel, boys and girls, which means that it is now story time. We have been reading a story the last few days here called Buttons and Boots, and we're going to conclude that story here today, and it's really a wonderful story, and let's listen to it right now. Jack Frost shook his paintbrush impatiently that Fleetfoot skipped along in the side faster than before. Didn't I hear Buttons calling? Asked Fleetfoot presently as they stopped a moment for breath. I hear someone calling, Boots, Boots, Boots. Yes, that is Buttons' voice, answered Jack Frost. I hear him too. Now I will keep him out of the way, for I'm afraid of giving Buttons a chill. And you lead him up the hill to Boots as fast as you can go. All this seemed great fun to Fleetfoot. He watched the little figure in white creeping round and round the barn, calling, Boots, Boots, come on, come here, Boots. Then he pulled from his pocket the silver bell he had taken from the neck of the drowsy white fur cat. Tinkle, 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 tinkle. Fleetfoot crouched close to the ground and rang the bell at Buttons' feet. Boots, called Buttons with a little jump, where are you? I hear your bell. Tinkle, 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 called the little bell a little farther away, and as Buttons started toward it, Fleetfoot cried, meow, in such a natural way that it is no wonder Buttons felt sure it was the voice of missing Boots. Round the barn and around the house they went, the bell calling tinkle, 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 and Buttons followed close behind. Up Butternut Hill they climbed, Buttons quite forgetting his tender toes in his eagerness to catch his little friend. Up and away they went. Every time that Fleetfoot cried, meow, Buttons ran faster than before. At last the top of the hill was reached, and Fleetfoot and Buttons both spied Boots sitting on the branch of a tree, his eyes gleaming in the darkness like green lamps, and every hair standing straight out with excitement and fright. "Oh, Boots, Boots!" cried Buttons, standing at the front of the tree, stretching out his arms. "Come down, come down! We are all alone. There's no one here but me." Fleetfoot wanted to laugh as he peeped from behind the roots of the tree. "All alone, are they?" Not to mention himself over the top of a bayberry bush. Fleetfoot could see the white plume in Jack Frost's cap. He had followed him all the way up the hill indeed. Boots and Buttons were not alone. But neither Jack Frost nor Fleetfoot stirred nor made a sign. They both wanted Boots and Buttons to run home at once. Slowly down the trunk of the tree crept Boots. Tenderly he was gathered into Buttons' arms. Down the hill started Buttons on his way toward home. Close behind him came Fleetfoot, watching Buttons' every step. Dear me, those bare toes, he thought to himself. How I wish he was safe at home. Every time Buttons stepped on a stone and cried, "Ouch!" Fleetfoot winced as if his only tiny toes had been hurt. And behind them had been hurt. Elves are the kindest little people in the world, and their hearts are very tender, you must know. Behind them, lurking in the shadows, marched Jack Frost, carrying his paintbrush like a banner, and stopping now and then to paint a scarlet spray on a bush, or to trace with white the leaves of a late wayside flower. Jack Frost felt happy. He had been troubled about Buttons, wandering out in his night clothes on the frosty night. But now, with the help of Fleetfoot, he had started Buttons toward home in 5 minutes. If Buttons kept straight on, the little boy would be tucked snugly in his warm bed. But Buttons didn't keep straight on. Suddenly, to everyone's surprise, he sat down by the side of the road. "Ouch! Ouch!" cried Buttons, rocking to and fro. "I have hurt my toe again. Ouch! 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 Oh, I can't walk another step." "Let us stay here, Boots, and go to sleep. I am so tired. We can go home in the morning." And burying his face in Boots' fur, poor tired Buttons fell fast asleep. "This won't do! This won't do!" scolded Jack Frost, hurrying up and shaking his paintbrush as if he would sweep Buttons and Boots down the road. "This will never do! Come, Fleetfoot, come, we must go home at once." "Yes, yes," answered Fleetfoot soothingly, sitting beside the Buttons, and quickly pulling up his own pointed elf shoes. "See, Jack Frost, I will put on my own elf shoes on Buttons' feet, and just like this. Now I put Boots down on the ground and climb on his back. And whoa, Boots, whoa! Now, Jack Frost, take your icicle and poke Buttons until he wakes up. Wake up, Buttons, wake up! Open your eyes. Good, now let's run." And sure enough, off they started. Boots ran like the wind, his bell all a tinkle, his ears pointing skyward, his tail and his whiskers standing out straight. On his back rode Fleetfoot, holding on to the cat's collar and ringing his own bell wildly as he rode. And beside them sped Buttons, the elf shoes carrying him over the ground faster than he'd ever run before. And close to his side came Jack Frost, poking him with his icicle now and then. It was the funniest race the silver moon had ever looked down upon. And no wonder he laughed when all the stars crowded around the sea, too. Home at last, Jack Frost gave a great sigh of relief as Buttons vanished into the house and up the stairs to bed. Boots, like a shadow, ran at his heels. "Just a moment," said Jack Frost as he and Fleetfoot started up at this dark and silent house, "until I see see that they are really safe." And like a flash, Jack Frost disappeared. And when he came back, as suddenly as he had gone, his face was all a smile. "Fast asleep already," he said. "They are both tired now. Fleetfoot, you must go home. You'd better ride back on the wind. And think you've run enough all night. Tell Santa Claus you were a great help. I never could have got these two home if it hadn't been for you. Goodbye. I must go back to work. The maple tree isn't half finished. Look at the green leaves I must paint tonight." Jack Frost, with a flourish of the paintbrush, disappeared among the maple boughs as Fleetfoot climbed upon the shoulder of the friendly west wind. They were halfway home, sweeping through the air, when Fleetfoot suddenly cried out, My shoes! Cried Fleetfoot. My shoes! I have left them on Button's feet. What will Buttons think in the morning when he sees my elf shoes? The west wind didn't answer. Perhaps he didn't know what to say. And as for the moon, he was still smiling. He made Fleetfoot smile too. This is the best thing to do, said Fleetfoot. Laugh about it. Probably that was what Buttons would do tomorrow morning when he sees my funny shoes. And Fleetfoot was right. That is just what Buttons did. And that's the end of the story, boys and girls. It's a good one. I want you to tune in again on our next day when we're going to have a new story called The Book of Good Children. You can catch the other prior parts of the episode about buttons and boots in our prior episodes, which you can always go to SantaClausSays.net and on Apple Podcast and on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Santa Claus Says. That's what we do here. Well, there's the glockenspiel, boys and girls, and you know that means that it's time for our letter to Santa. Our letter to Santa today comes today from Sarah G. And what Sarah says is, ask Santa, dear Santa, am I on the nice list? And is there even really a Santa? Well, Sarah, here I am, and I looked at my computer, and I found that indeed Sarah G is on the nice list, but you still must believe in the magic of Santa Claus. And to remind you that I'm going to be with you every day until Christmas, and you can always send me a letter. Sarah and others can send me a letter or a voicemail or an email or a text at SantaClausSays.net. That's what you do, and I will reach out to you as well. We'll have a lot of fun together. Well, boys and girls, it means it's about time for us to wrap up this episode of Santa Claus Says. I want to remind you that we have two special shows coming up here in a couple weeks at Christmas time itself. On Christmas Eve, December 24th, we have our special reading of The Night Before Christmas, the famous book where it goes, the night before Christmas and all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. We'll read the entire story on Christmas Eve, December 24th. And then on Christmas Day, December 25th, we will read the first Christmas story from the Bible about the birth of Jesus, because Christmas is all about the birth of Jesus Christ, who came to be the greatest gift to all people. Santa Claus is here as a gift to you this Christmas season to bring three things to your life: to bring Christmas cheer with a joke or a fun thing to do, to tell you a great story. Remember our story tomorrow. You don't want to miss it. And then to read a letter to Santa. And you can do all that by going to SantaClausSays.net. And you can find me there on the website. You can find me on Apple Podcasts and the other podcast directories. And then you can also find me on YouTube at youtube.com/Santa Claus Says. That's it for today, boys and girls. Have a Merry, Merry, Merry Christmas and blessed holiday season. We will see you soon here on Santa Claus Says. And remember that Santa Claus says to be good for goodness sakes. Ho, 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 ho.
You're special to Santa Claus, just like Sprinkles. Get on Santa's nice list at SantaClausSays.net and watch Santa Claus Says live on YouTube. Tell him Sprinkles sent you.